So let's talk a little bit about why healing your childhood trauma is so critical to a healthy relationship. So the first reason why is that when you're developing, if you experience trauma, that trauma actually changes the structure and function of your brain. Dr. Bruce Perry did a lot of research on kids who were raised in abusive environments and who were exposed to different kinds of trauma. And he basically found that the brain responds to the environment you grow up in and develops in use-dependent ways. And so what we've learned is that trauma basically rewires your brain in some ways. So we are born optimized for connecting to other people, but trauma makes us rewire our brains for protection. So if you don't do the work to heal from that childhood trauma, you're going to stay wired for protection, and that's going to really interfere with your relationship. In addition, trauma leads to a lot of relationship sabotaging behaviors, like having an affair. Sometimes people do really unhealthy things to cope with their pain that cause massive problems in their relationships. Trauma also really disrupts how we communicate and how we emotionally regulate ourselves. So if you have experienced a lot of trauma and neglect, you probably know that you are hypervigilant about people's body language, their emotions, their facial reactions. You probably over-respond to a lot of things, and then you may shut down, you may fawn, you may kind of avoid the situation. You may do a lot of different things to cope that aren't conducive to a healthy relationship. Trauma also affects our functional intelligence. One of the most interesting pieces of research is that the more alarmed you are, the more aroused your brain is in terms of trauma, the lower your functional intelligence. So when you get to the state of being in terror, your brain is functioning at a very primitive level. So in my opinion, unless you heal from your childhood wounds, and again, healing is a luxury that not everybody has, but unless you heal from those childhood wounds, you're starting your relationship kind of behind the starting line. You're starting underwater. You have all this baggage that you're bringing to the relationship, and that is not your fault, but it's going to interfere with your relationship. So I'd really love for you to do the work to heal from that. My favorite book for healing from childhood trauma is How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPera. And if you're looking for research, check out Dr. Gabor Mate, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and Dr. Bruce Perry. Such geniuses.